Okay, so right now you should have opened 16.3 in your exercise files. Alright, so I'll go to mine, exercise files 16.3, and you should have a bowling alley and lavender fields. Both pretty good stuff. Alright, move that away, and here is the bowling alley, and here is the lavender field. Alright, so now we're going to go more into photography work as opposed to graphics work. And I always tell my students, Photoshop covers a lot of professions. Okay, so videographers use it, web designers use it, graphics people use it, and of course, photographers use it. And they use some tools more than others. It all depends on what their needs are. But at any rate, what we're doing here is more photography, and it's all under. Believe it or not, we're not going to touch the toolbar. We're going to go up here. We're going to go to Image and Adjustments, and you see a whole slew of things. Okay, you can brightness, contrast, levels, exposure, and they all have to do with kind of like adjusting the coloration, adjusting the look, the mostly adjusting the color. So we're going to have to kind of explore and see which tool is best for you. And I encourage you to explore everything. I'm not going to go over everything. So I'm just going to mention that go to image adjustments and just play around. But I'll show you some of them. The first one I'm going to show you is brightness contrast. And that is just a little dialog box. Okay. And as you can see right here, if I move it all starts out at 0, 0. I kind of moved it a little bit. Okay, but if I slide the brightness to the right side, you'll see that the image actually increases in brightness. Okay, if I go back to 0 or close to it, all right, then basically I can go ahead and decrease the contrast or increase it. Notice it gets darker. So contrast kind of brings out more of the darker colors as opposed to the lighter colors. Brightness brings out more light. Okay, now in a bowling alley it's usually darker, so we want to definitely add a little bit more brightness to it, although adding a little bit of combination of both, you just kind of have to work it to see which is best for you. Alright, so now we're going to go to the lavender fields and the same thing. Okay, so image, adjustments, brightness, contrast. Again, if I move it over, you'll see that it's really nice and bright now, although it kind of does away with the colors. So, if it's too bright, it kind of takes away from the image. So we want to kind of increase the contrast. Now look at that. The lavender really comes out. All right, let's go on into the hue saturation. So image, adjustment. Now there's a lot of things over here that I skipped out on, but one of them I really want to cover is hue saturation. And, hue basically highlights a certain color. Now if you notice here, you got a drop down menu. Like say for instance I want to go ahead and focus on the reds, if there's any. And as you can see, there isn't much, but when I saturate, that means I make the colors come out more. Again, I don't see much difference here, so let me see if there's something going on. Actually, let's go back to the bowling alley, and now let's try hue saturation. Alright, so again, if I look at that, so you can see obviously changes. Okay, so there we have it. And saturation, there we go. Okay, so again, you got it. Lightness, of course, is kind of increasing the lightness of the entire image. Saturation kind of comes out with overall. We can saturate the reds, and there's a little bit of red here. So it kind of brings out the red more. As you can see, red's appearing. So that's what saturate does. Hue, meaning master color or color, all right, is just basically anything that comes up in light and dark. So it's basically the pure color, okay? Whether it's in a shade or whether it's in a tone, it's basically colors. Let's go back to lavender field and see if hue works here. All right, again, as you can see, kind of there we go. So I don't know what happened there. That looks really cool. Again, there's no formula here. But this is nice because it actually, when we first started, it's the grass area is the grass part, the green part is not as green. Now it's really green. Let's see if we can saturate. So there we go. So now the lavender really sticks out, even the sky back there. Alright, and now we can go ahead and try other things. For instance, we may want to try the color balance. So let's go back to the bowling alley. Image, adjustments, color balance. Now here is cyan, magenta. This is more for print. Okay, so we got to be careful about that. So if you want to kind of increase the magenta, if we have it, so we can say that the words here, WOW, is more cyan. Okay, magenta, of course, there's magenta everywhere. So if we increase the magenta, look at that. All right, and sometimes we can increase the blue, as we can see. So at any rate, again, it's up to you. What do you think it looks good? If we go to the lavender field, image, adjustments, and let's go again to color balance and increase cyan. There's not much cyan, but you can clearly see the impact of increasing cyan. So the magenta, the lavender actually turns into magenta. Look at that. I'm sorry, it turns into cyan. Look at that. Now magenta, okay, turns the lavender field really lavender. And let's see what yellow does. So you can definitely enhance it. That looks beautiful right there. So, alrighty. Anyways, the rest you can kind of play off with, but I do want to show you one thing. Go to adjustments and black and white. Look at this. We lose all the colors. So now if we want to go to yesteryear pictures from today's pictures, there we go. And black and white also have certain shades of color. So whatever you can find, you see that? You can just kind of play around with it and see what you can come up with. Pretty interesting concept. Let's go to the bowling alley. I don't know how well this will work here. Adjust, black and white. So, well, actually kind of looks better. Black and white images are really, really cool. I mean, they really enhance an image in so many ways. Now let's try something pretty scary. Image, adjustment, invert. Boom, wow. Now that is a bowling alley. Okay, so invert just kind of inverses the colors, sort of like the negative films, if for those of you old enough to understand that. Alrighty, so again, I'm not going to go too much into it. You're just going to have to play with it and, understand the concepts a little bit and enjoy it. Alrighty?